Yeah, well, obviously I'm part of the new generation. We'll be the people who are impacted by decisions made by government now. It's not just that, it's also, I live on a canal boat in Northamptonshire, and I live right next to the West Coast Main Line. You hear these trains going past 24/7, and you kind of want to get involved. So in my case, I formed what is now Sustainable Transport Midlands, and started campaigning.
The comments this morning from the panellists about the young generation are really passionate about sustainability. I think you're sort of really living proof of that. Personally, I'm sure the audience would agree. So tell me, what are you working on right now? What are the projects you're working on right now?
Well, right now, as you said, Sustainable Transport Northamptonshire and Sustainable Transport Outer Regions are now Sustainable Transport Midlands, one combined group, making everything a lot simpler. But in terms of what we're doing, we have 4 current campaigns: Milton Keynes Tram, Abingdon Parkway Project, and Kingsbury Station Project in Warwickshire. But the main one is Daventry Parkway Project. What you said was Wheaton Station Project at the time. As you see, a lot of things have changed now. But Daventry Parkway Project is the campaign for a new railway station in Wheaton Beck on the West Coast Main Line. It would be provided, services would be provided by West Midlands Trains and Atlantic West Coast. What else can I say about Daventry Parkway Project? It's got support of West Northamptonshire Council, and we have a white paper on our website. So a lot of work has been put into Daventry Parkway Project. It's been about a year and 6 months, and things are going really well.
Good. Well, I wish you great success with that. You've got MD of West Midlands Trains here, so he's listening really carefully to us. So I think there may be a conversation going on shortly. So networking for the Rail Forum is really, this is a first, I have to say. I've got a burning question for me, Rich. Please indulge me. If you could change one thing about this industry, what would it be?
Well, I had a long think about this, and I think it's integration and reliability. So if you take London, for example, Oyster, tap in at, I'm not sure, London Euston Underground Station, and tap out at King's Cross and Pancras, a very short journey, but and then you're charged. And that is the most simple thing. You tap in, you walk in, you take the train, you tap out, you walk out. If that was around the entirety of the country, I think a lot of people would use rail more because it would be so much simpler. Maybe this is something that Greater British Railways would bring. I'm sure that links quite well into the next segment of today. And reliability. Trains are late, trains are delayed, trains are cancelled, and that is really annoying. Today my train was delayed by something like 15 minutes out of Long Buckby, and it was pouring down with rain. I don't mean that to offend West Midlands Trains, but I'm sure it's not all their fault. But things like that. The rail network needs to be more reliable, and I'm sure when Great British Railways comes around in 2023-24, things will become a lot better for the railways.
So we've really got to get the basics right for the customer.
Yes.
Reliability, not leaving it out in the rain, absolutely makes sense. So we first met across an email, looking for that work experience placement, which I think did actually happen, which is great. So tell me a little bit, I know you wanted to talk about your work experience placement, so tell me a little bit about what you did, where you went to, and any thoughts you've got to companies or any advice you've got to companies that might be thinking of offering a placement to a young person.
Yeah, well, my school gives me 2 weeks work experience opportunity to go to a company I'd like to go to and experience work. And I chose Network Rail for my first week and SLC Rail in Birmingham for my second. So I got in touch with you about my Network Rail experience. It was originally going to be in Milton Keynes, in their Milton Keynes office, but unfortunately, due to COVID, I was only in for about 2 hours. One meeting being meeting someone I've been working with throughout the week, and the other being relating to Daventry Parkway Project. So I was meeting James Dean, who is Route Director of West Coast South. I spoke with him about Daventry Parkway Project. It was very useful to speak to him. But I was in I've forgotten the team name. There's so many teams in Network.
There's lots of teams Too many teams.
Something in freight. I think I learned quite a lot about. I never really knew a lot about freight, although during the night I could not sleep because freight was coming past. I did not know much about it. I certainly learned quite a lot, like how East West Rail could benefit freight by bypassing London.
East West Rail are here today as well, wherever Stuart is, so you can listen to this one.
And second week, SLC Rail, I was in Birmingham in person on Monday. I went to the office, did my standard, joined some meetings and that sort of thing. On Tuesday I was at home, had some more sessions relating to new stations and things SLC Rail were working on. Wednesday I went around the rail network to see some of their previous projects. So I went over to Worcestershire Parkway and we went to big companies, so I've forgotten what other station they've done. It was one near Birmingham. And on Thursday I was at home again. So a good mix of both home working, which might become the norm in a few years' time, but also being in person. I think that's quite a good mix. I think more companies should take that into account by thinking some people prefer working in person and some people prefer working at home. Maybe a mix of the two would be convenient, which I really liked. I didn't like waking up every morning at something like 6:30 to take my train, but it was nice to be in person to see other people like-minded. And on Friday, I presented to the managing director of SLC Rail about future opportunities, including GBR and what they could do to take advantage of that. And I went down to University Station, which is being rebuilt, to have a look at what's going on there.
So it was useful, you enjoyed it?
Certainly, yeah.
And would you recommend companies in the audience that are perhaps thinking of offering a work experience placement to do so?
Yeah.
It's a good way of getting people involved and raising that interest.
Yeah, and it's not just work experience placements, it's traineeships and apprenticeships. I'd like to go into an apprenticeship, and I know a lot of companies in rail, ACOM and I know Govia Thameslink Railway are doing some sort of apprenticeship scheme. Do those, but more companies should take advantage of apprenticeships. I think it would be really great.
Somehow I don't think you're going to struggle in this industry. Harry, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
I don't think so. It's been a pleasure to be here today around like-minded people, although I am around 20 years younger than you. Not to make you feel old.
This is a huge compliment. This is a huge compliment to me. Huge compliment. Harry, seriously, the pleasure is ours. We're absolutely delighted that you've been able to